Good evening, everybody. I think we're going to go ahead and get started.
I'm 61, going to be 62, and I have a lot of legal problems, but I have zero money.
She never had any services available to her to help in her situation.
It seems to me that the only justice you can get is what you can afford.
Most of us, as just people in the population, not attorneys and not trained in court procedures, we don't understand the system, and quite frequently we don't trust what we hear because it's not clear English.
What I'd like to see is a plan.
Many of you may think that we already have a statewide system for providing civil legal services. We don't. And I think the reason that people might think that really comes from a number of different ideas. Number one, there's a number of entities that are out there trying to fill a niche, trying to do some things. And then other people may think, well, we've got public defender's office. They've got offices all over the state. They've got attorneys that handle all of this, and the public defenders are taking care of all this. Well, that's not accurate. They're handling criminal cases. We have a justice gap. You know, one of the foundational principles of this country, justice for all. We have a gap between what's promised by that phrase. Simply put, there are too many people that in this day and age are shut out of the system. They don't know where to turn. Who are these people that we're talking about? We're talking about elderly on fixed income that may need some help with a will or guardianship papers, or trying to do something with federal benefits that they're not getting.
There are families that live in substandard housing who need help with their landlords. There are young mothers, perhaps caught in abusive relationships, who may need a protection order, a divorce, or child custody arrangement. And then there are the kids that are involved in these kinds of situations who need protection of the law and a respite from strife. There are tens of thousands of people in Wyoming who cannot get the civil legal services they need.
There's a tremendous unmet need out there. As the economy has gone south, as people have lost their jobs, formerly people who had good incomes, good wages, had houses and the rest, are now facing medical bankruptcies, foreclosures, all sorts of things besides just the domestic issues that are really giving rise to a need for the state as a whole to look at this problem and see what we can do about it.
Nationwide, state studies and national studies have shown that when we talk about low to moderate income populations, fully 80% of those people have a legal need for which they cannot get help.
The self-sufficiency standard for Wyoming, for Laramie County, says that each adult would need to earn $9.64 an hour, or a little over $24.48. Housing, the average two-bedroom apartment in Laramie County comes to $612. And talking to my colleagues, we think that must not include utilities. This family with two kids, either one kid is sleeping on the couch or the infant is in the bedroom with the adults. We're not talking about a lot of space or room. So that's another $600. So we're already down to $1,800 for the month. Child care, the average for the full-time infant and before and after school for the other child, it would come to around $742 a month. So we're down to around $1,100. If that family knows about the child tax credit, they can get around $277 a month back. So that gets them back up to $1,371. So now we go to transportation. And again, this is an average from the self-sufficiency standard that sounds crazy to me. It says it's $454. A car payment, gas, insurance, they're saying that much for transportation. I think it's probably more than that. That has us down to under $1,000. Food, this standard is with the infant, it includes diapers and those kinds of things. So they're saying $750 for this family of 4 for the month, which means they have $165 left for the entire month. We have not done health care, health insurance, savings, clothing, school supplies, a college fund, participating in sports, renter's insurance, going to the CFE carnival, having any kind of fun, buying books for their kids, having a pet, having life insurance. None of those things are in this standard. And they have $165 left. So for me, standing here with the upbringing that I had, we were able to do all these things in my family, but this family will not be able to do that. So that's my quick picture of what a family that is not considered in poverty. This is around 150% of poverty at this rate, and this is how this family is doing in our community.
We get those people coming through all the time without counsel as well in criminal cases. And oftentimes there's either not enough time or not enough resources for them really to express what they need to have expressed, either to the court or if it's a jury trial to the jury, whether it be a criminal case or a civil case. And the process goes so much smoother if there's counsel on the other side.
As a district court judge, I have only the information and evidence that I'm allowed to consider, and a pro se litigant doesn't know the means by which you get that information before the court.
A year and a half ago, I was a victim of domestic violence, and it was pretty bad. And on one of my meetings with Monica and Bill, they came to me, they said, Raylene, they said, when you're in court, you're going to be asked, why have you not filed for a divorce? And I was a little embarrassed, and I thought to myself, wow. And I looked at Monica and I said, I can't afford it to go and pay for an attorney and all that. I just can't do it. So then they directed me, and they said, you can pick up a pamphlet and you can do it yourself, and Ed would be glad to help you. And like Monica said, this pamphlet it's crazy. And I was like, there was no way I could possibly do it. So I started going through it, and the front of the page, and it tells you all this, which ones you have to bring with you. And we got through with it, and I would run back and forth to the court like 4 or 5 times a day just because it was just absolutely crazy. I did file for assistance to help with my divorce and with my domestic violence a year and a half ago, and I still have not heard from him. So, I agree with everybody.